Queen Elizabeth II. A name that echoes through time, a symbol that stood steady as the world changed. A woman who carried a crown that wasn't just made of jewels, but of duty, sacrifice, and unshakable discipline. When the world shook, she stood firm. When nations changed, she adapted. When times were dark, she became the calm light guiding millions. Hers is not a story of privilege. It is a story of responsibility, resilience, and the extraordinary power of silent strength. Queen Elizabeth II was never meant to be queen. She was born into a world where her destiny was simply support the crown, but never wear it. But life has a way of reshaping destinies. When her uncle abdicated and her father became king, Elizabeth's path changed forever. At just 10 years old, she realized her life would no longer belong to her. It would belong to her people. And instead of fear, she accepted it with dignity far beyond her age. That moment marks the first lesson from her life. Greatness does not always come from desire. Sometimes it comes from duty. As a young princess, Elizabeth watched her country fall into the chaos of World War II. She saw cities burn, families torn apart, and an entire nation brought to its knees. But she also saw something else: the courage of ordinary people, the strength of unity, the resilience of a nation that refused to fall, and that resilience became part of her soul. At only 14, she delivered her first speech to the children of Britain, telling them to stay strong, stay hopeful, and stay united. Her voice wasn't royal. It wasn't polished, but it was steady. It carried warmth. It carried hope. And people listened. That was the beginning of a lifetime of service. When she turned 21, she made a promise that would shape history. She said, "I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service." Most people make promises they forget. She made a vow she carried for more than 70 years without failing even once. This is the second lesson from her life. Commitment is not a word. It is a lifetime discipline. At just 25 years old, Elizabeth lost her father, the man she admired, the man who taught her kindness, duty, and courage. And overnight, she became queen. There was no time for grief, no time to pause, no time to recover. The crown waited for no one. She stepped into the role, carrying both her sorrow and her responsibility. And for the rest of her life, she would prove that leadership is not about power. It is about stability. The world around her transformed, empires dissolved, nations gained independence, prime ministers changed, global crises came and went. Through all of it, she remained the constant, the steady presence, the calm center of a storm. She became a living symbol of continuity in a rapidly changing world. But her story isn't just political. It's deeply human. She faced criticism, challenges, and unimaginable pressure. She lost her beloved husband, Prince Philip. After 73 years of partnership, she stood alone at his funeral, masked, distant, in pain yet composed. That image traveled the world, not because she was a queen, but because she was a human being living through the same pain as millions during a global pandemic. She taught us that even the strongest hearts break, but they keep beating. One of her greatest strengths was her ability to evolve, to adapt without losing identity. She navigated tradition and modernity with quiet precision. She did not chase popularity. She chased stability. She believed in service over spotlight, dignity over drama, responsibility over reward. In a world obsessed with fame, she chose duty. In a world obsessed with noise, she chose silence. And in that silence, she built respect. Her leadership style was not loud. It was not aggressive. It was steady, controlled, intentional. She understood that true power is not about commanding others, it is about mastering oneself. Her patience was legendary. Her discipline unmatched. She spent thousands of hours reading documents, attending meetings, offering counsel, listening deeply to people from all walks of life. She mastered the art of showing up every single day without fail. Queen Elizabeth II carried the crown longer than any monarch in British history. 70 years of service, 70 years of decisions, crises, celebrations, and changes. 70 years of waking up every day with a responsibility she never asked for but never ran from. That alone is one of the greatest lessons we can learn. Success is not built in moments of excitement. It is built in decades of consistency. What makes her motivational? Not her position, not her wealth, not the crown. What makes her story powerful is the mindset behind it. The extraordinary self-control, the unwavering discipline, the calm leadership, the ability to endure pressure with elegance, the ability to rise above chaos without losing identity. Her legacy teaches us: 1. Duty is a choice you renew every day, even when tired, even when hurting, even when the world doesn't praise you. 2. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, stands still, and survives. 3. Discipline is more powerful than motivation. Motivation fades. Discipline builds empires. 4. Leadership is not about being followed. It's about being stable when others are breaking. 5. Life is not about avoiding burden. It's about carrying it with dignity. She lived through wars, recessions, political shifts, cultural revolutions, and personal heartbreak, yet her composure never cracked. She represented something rare, lifelong commitment to something bigger than herself. In every crisis, she offered calm. In every celebration, she offered unity. She was not perfect because no human is, but she was consistent, and consistency is the foundation of greatness. Her passing marked the end of an era, the end of stability, the end of a monarch whose presence outlived generations. But her lessons continue. Her example remains. Her discipline lives on in every person who chooses responsibility over excuses, effort over comfort, and duty over distraction. So what can you learn from Queen Elizabeth II? You learn that power is not about titles. It is about character. You learn that true success is not in what the world sees, but in the responsibility you carry quietly. You learn that the world will change violently, rapidly, unexpectedly, but your inner strength must stay firm. You learn that greatness is not loud. It is steady. And you learn that if you commit yourself fully to a purpose, you can build a legacy that lasts far beyond your lifetime. Her life is proof that ordinary commitment becomes extraordinary over time. Her story shows that even those who never seek leadership can become some of the greatest leaders the world has ever known. Her mindset, her discipline, her sense of duty, these are lessons for anyone who wants to rise, endure, and succeed. Queen Elizabeth II lived 96 years, served for 70, inspired billions, and she did it not by demanding attention, but by earning respect. Let her legacy remind you: you don't need a crown to live like a queen. You need purpose. You need discipline. You need strength. Carry yourself with dignity. Show up when it's hard. Stay consistent when others quit. Build a life that stands firm even when the world around you shakes. Because greatness is not given. Greatness is built, and like Queen Elizabeth II, your legacy will be defined not by the power you hold but by the responsibility you carry. If this inspired you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe.